What is happening, OSA Aquarium Nation? In here you see whole room decor of artificial plants. We also got woods and things like that. I love the artificial plant look. It looks awesome when you're doing large South American cichlids, African cichlids. It is instant gratification. But in the grand scheme, this isn't for everyone. So one of the things I want to get into is one of my personal favorites, live planted tanks and how to get into it. I want to talk about community fish that you can put inside there and different ways to just open your mind. So let's go take a look around and we're going to show you how to get into live planted tanks. Before we jump into that video though, do me a favor. I appreciate you guys so much, but if you could give us a like and a subscribe, it helps us out and helps grow the channel and just lets us know we're doing a good job. And for doing that, here's a picture of a pufferfish. Hit it, Danny.
Okay.
Now that's out of the way, let's go take a look at some plants. Besides marginals, which are the ones that come up and out of the tanks, and I'll show you guys tanks on that, but today we're talking about mostly the epiphytes. These guys right here that, like, let's talk about Anubias, right? Anubiases are great to grow on any sort of woods or rocks. We actually take these, we pull them out, and we'll actually glue. Actually, I'll cut back some of these roots and we can glue them right to the woods inside the tank. Now, I'll show you more in depth of it, but live plants have become one of my personal favorites and I absolutely love it. The other thing is the amount of fish that you can do it and the type of fish that you can get into it. When it comes down to lighting, one of the things that I like is, so far been my favorite, the Forr 3.0s and the AI primes. Those two lights, as of right now, I never know, things could change, but those two lights have been my absolute favorite. And I gotta tell you, even for tanks that have canopies, I'm digging the Forr 3.0s. For a fairly inexpensive light for what it costs and what it does, Bluetooth ready, that light has done wonders for me. Now, there's a ton of plants out there, but if you want to get into it, obviously I'd say go more gravel style, but if you like sand, you can do certain plants with sand too. One of my top favorites has been Crypts, Java Firs, and Anubias. Bulbitis has been pretty good. And any of those epiphyte type of plants where you can grow them on the woods or the rocks inside the tank. All right, so some of the plants we have here are the different types of Anubias. Boterai has been my favorite. The Nana Petite has been another one that's been my ultimate favorite. Java Ferns, this is great. You take these, we use the coral glue, you glue this right onto a piece of wood and you set them in, and Java Ferns are fantastic as well. When you have the right lighting, these will do very, very well, and also the right fish inside the tank. Now, one of the things is getting into different types of fish is understand the amount of community fish you can do in there. And also that some of these community fish, you'll see them here, are not as bright as what they look in a tank, because when you're building a more natural surrounding system, these fish just brighten up and they look fantastic. And then to fill in sand or gravel, I like to use Crypts. Crypts have like so far been my absolute favorite. Those will grow so well. And also Amazon swords if your tank's big enough. But those are like my top favorites. You can also get into bicopa and things like that, but what I like about these plants is they will take a lot of the nutrients from the water column that's up in the water, so you're not really too stressed about putting nutrients inside the soil. So right here, actually Ernie just brought this right over here. This is the Forr 3.0. My entire house is done in this light, and I love the fact that I have it all controlled from my cell phone. I can control every single one of them, and then also the AI Prime. The AI Prime is great for rimless tanks. If you want the fresh water, this is fantastic for rimless tanks. And I also, you can see here, we have radials on this system. I love doing any of these marginal plants like the monsteras, the pothos, the peace lily. When you're bringing those type of plants inside the mix, when you're going above the rim is like what we call it, because they're also taking a lot of the excess nutrients out of the water column as well. And just the look of it, the sheer look looks absolutely amazing. The biggest issue we run into when it comes into live plants is, a lot of people don't understand, is you really want to fill that tank up as fast as possible with live plants. If you just bought this one plant, okay, and you stuck it inside the tank, it's really not going to do that well. You want to fill the entire tank as much as possible in one shot to really get those plants grow. Tanks are a little bit different with CO2 because they're CO2 injected. We're not doing that. We're just dosing these tanks, and we're doing it by overall control because they got to pull out those excess nutrients. You don't want to put, so what happens is you'll have a lot of fish in there and you don't have enough plants to break down that excess waste. And what happens is the fish waste actually becomes too strong for the plants. So you really want to jam pack it and also give those plants a chance too, because you're going to have some die off. You're going to have some plants that kind of bleach back and you're going to have to cut them back and they'll regrow. But that's when the plants do the absolute best. I'm going to tell you right now, if you get into it, the magic number mark is 3 months. You do the 3 months. You start the tank up, you fill up, get it going. 3 months in, that's when it really all comes together, and you'll be like, oh, this is awesome. All right, when it comes to fish, I love just community fish when it comes to planted tanks. Well, the reason why is I like how many I can fit in there, and I love the color contrast. For me, all my tanks painted black. I like to use a lot of sand in most of my tanks, and I like the green from the plants. Now, picking out the right fish to make all those colors pop with the fish look really good. I mean, simple fish as something as a serpent tetra, you know? These guys are bright red fish, look great in a massive school, and then going from a serpent tetra to gold angels. Gold angels look fantastic when they're in a big group. You have a group of angels inside that tank. Now you got the golds to the reds to the black background to the white sand to the live plants. Now you're like really cooking. The angels, tell me this is not awesome. You have a big group of these. And I just want to show you guys this here. But we're gonna head up to my house and I'm gonna show you guys kind of these planted tanks as they're set up and kind of show you like how we do it. So I taken you guys to my house. One thing about my house is it's tiny. It's really small. And there is windows everywhere. I had to close the shades just so Danny could do this video. But when I say open sunlight, this is the setup for an aquarium hobbyist's worst nightmare if it's not done right because of how much sunlight is in here. Danny will show you that and like right here. You do that thing, Danny. All right. Well, I'm gonna show you guys my tank. So I actually have 4 tanks in this house. And it's funny, it's like only like 600 square feet, but it's totally fine. 4 tanks in this house. I'm gonna try to show you the different types of plants I use, the types of fish, and how I like to pack them up. All right, I'm gonna show you, this is my 110. So this is a 110 gallon tank. This is actually a marine land. I did all the planet standing canopies. I love this with a 29 gallon sump. Now in this tank is Exodons or bucktooth tetras. This is just not the brightest colored fish, but I love how this fish swims. I love how it interacts. Problem is with all that is there's not many fish that can clean this up. Normally I'd use like Siamese algae eaters and things like that. No, we can't do that because these fish are gonna eat them. What we get away with is cory cats. I do have some bushy-nosed plecos and honestly a bunch of mystery snails and nerites. All sand, which we're always learning that you can't really do sand in a planted tank. Listen, I'll break every rule as long as you pick out the right plants. And the whole bottom is done with crypts. So you can see the whole bottom, we did crypts on the bottom. There is some jungle val in the back and an Amazon sword. But most of it is the epiphytes is all Java ferns. You can see Java ferns just growing all over this wood. So the whole structure is a large piece of driftwood inside there with just Java ferns glued everywhere. And I did multiple types of Java ferns. So I love how this house tank looks. I love the way it's worked out for me because it's been that fun. I based this on a 50% water change every other week. And I'm gonna tell you guys something else with a lot of these plants. Now, there's sunlight everywhere. There's no UV sterilizer on this tank. And I haven't cleaned the glass in this tank, and no joke, maybe 6-7 weeks. That's one of the coolest things. And you can see there is some algae growing here, but that's about it. When you load it up right, it is one of the coolest things. And I just love how those plants work. And they really help bring down the nitrates. And we just do those big 50% water changes and the fish love it. I love this tank. And this is all controlled with a Fugal 3.0 light.
All right, I want to show you guys, this is my 150. It's got a 30 gallon sump on the bottom of it. Also planted tank. This is in my bedroom. So I took every space I possibly could. And I've always been against doing fish tanks in the bedroom. I'm telling you right now, I love it in the bedroom. And this tank is jam packed. So I had these fish originally in my other 150, my 4-foot. And they just started growing, and I just wanted to do another one. I did a 6-foot in my bedroom, and it's been a blast. So you could see some of the fish in here. You can see the Bosmones, the Parkinsoni, the turquoise, the Goyde River. I love, these are all Peruvian angels, red-spotted Peruvian angels. I got 14 of them, and they've been a blast. My MVP, Flagtail Procolotus, roseline sharks. There's bushy-nosed plecos, huge Congo tetras. I mean, when I say this tank is packed, there's probably over 100 fish in this tank. This tank is as jam-packed as it can be. And I love how awesome they are. They've been an absolute blast, and I just love the overall look. This is the same thing done with sand. All these planted in there. This is all done with epiphytes. There's Bicopa in this thing. You can see the octopus plant in the back, and that just grows so much. You can see it's just taking so much of the nutrients from the water column. That's why it grows up top. So that's got to get cut back. And I love the colors, but you could see how great the colors look on those fish when they're in natural habitat. And I love the black background. There is dragonstone, sand on the bottom. There is a little bit of gravel. And it's been a great tank, and I just love it. This is my 4-foot 150. This tank takes in so much sunlight because I got the window right behind you guys. I got a massive window there. The whole back's all windows and side views windows. This place is jam-packed. So I leave that open all the time. So this is controlled by 2 Fugal 3.0s back to back. I have discus in here. I have about 120 neons. I have albino hecali, Cory cats, and there is some rummy noses. And my MVP of this tank is I do have a Mabu puffer. He's not gonna be able to stay in here forever, but he's fantastic. I grew him out, and I just absolutely love him. And this is all based on the epiphytes. This entire tank is different types of woods with mostly Java fern, ton of Anubias, a lot of Botteri, there's Bicopa in this, different types of Java fern. There is Tiger Lotuses and Crypts, and this one has been an absolute blast. And on this one, I am the same thing, have not wiped any of the glass down in about 6 weeks, and this is just how it looks. And anybody that's getting into it, base it on 50% water changes. But when you do these tanks, you really want to go in, say to set this up, you want to go in, you want to get all your plants ahead of time, right? So if I was to set this up, I'm going to do the sand. I'm going to pull my rock work in, all my woods, put my woods where I want them to be. And now I'm going to go in and cover the whole thing in plants. So I'm going to do all the Anubiases, all the Java ferns. I'm going to do that in one shot. I'm going to glue it. You're going to get some glue residue and you're just going to fill it up as much as possible. You're going to play your crypts because the cramps are going to small. When you hit the 90-day mark, that's when like all the crypts start really looking good. And here I got dwarf lilies or tiger lotuses, and they're fantastic, but you'll have to cut some of those back, and then that's when the Anubiases really start growing, and you'll just see the overall growth, and I just love it. Once it's really established, you just want to do it right the first time and make sure you get everything right. And anyone that's into reef tanks, you'll love this just as much. This tank is controlled on the algae issues with Siamese algae eaters, bushy nose plecos, and the color is, when you see these neons just glow. They'll look way better than you'll ever see in an aquarium store. And it's cool seeing certain colors on certain of these fish, especially the albino geos. I love them. And you can see I got some discus in the background.
All right, for the last one, it's actually my oldest tank. This is Tideline 21 Peninsula, and all it has in it is cherry barb, some mystery snails, one neon, and I do have a cool looking crown tail beta in here. This I based on marginals. I love the marginal look on the rimless plants. What that means is taking the entire tank and all these plants and going up and out of it. This here is a peace lily, and when I got this peace lily, it was small. It was only like this big. This tank's about 1.5 years old, and look at the size of that. There's also a monkey mask monstera in here, and I also have this big piece of dragonwood coming up and out of it. I originally had tanzelids in it, but honestly, the amount of work to spray them down and to soak them, I just took them all off. I got some other types of just random plants that I just pull off from my other ones I throw in here, and it's just been a blast. I love cherry barbs, right? The male cherry barbs, that red against the contrast of the greens, it looks awesome. You can just see all the different colors. I gotta tell you, real truth, the pump in the back actually on this all-in-one actually broke a little while ago. I haven't replaced it, and I'm just running it on just the CHA power head, and the marginals are sucking out so much of those nutrients that it runs just the way it is by itself. It's just crazy with this many fish inside it, and I just love it. So these are all my personal tanks in my house. I just want to show you guys, if you're ever thinking about getting into a live plant tank, that's one of the things I want to show you how to get into it, how to have fun with it, and see the possibilities out there. Now, these are not for all types of fish. These are for these community fish, not for like the big African cichlids, not for the big South Americans, but if you want smaller style fish, schooling tank, this might be something you're interested if you want to do a little bit more work. Remember, there is some dosing involved. There's definitely a little bit more time involved, but when it gets really established, it is a blast. If you have any questions, make sure you check out all 3 locations. Every one of these guys will help you out. Thanks, guys.